We do want to talk more about how classified documents should be handled and what we've learned from the evidence so far related to this indictment. Gerard Filitti, national security expert and senior counsel at the Lawfare Project, a global network of legal professionals that defend civil rights cases and also fight anti-Semitism. Gerard, welcome to Morning Rush. Appreciate your time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Just as a top line reaction here, when you, I assume, had a chance to read this indictment or at least news coverage of it, what was your gut reaction for someone in your line of work?
My gut reaction is that the indictment is very well laid out and very damning. Having a conversation that was recorded in which Trump admits essentially that he knew that he should not have those documents, that they were not declassified, that he shouldn't be showing them to people is very troubling for him. Almost as much as how many documents are obtained, how sensitive they were, and how properly stored they were, just where anyone could have access to them.
When classified documents get into hands that are not supposed to have them, explain as best you can in everyday layman's terms why that makes national security vulnerable.
Well, first and foremost, it tells other people what we know. It gives them specifics on military strategy, on our ability to fight a war or defend it. But more than that, it goes into our intelligence capabilities. Some of these documents are marked in such a way that they suggest that they were based on human intelligence collection or secret spy satellites that are not widely known to the public. So getting these documents out in the public domain shows to the world what our capabilities are, how well our intelligence officers operate to get this information. It may provide the information that could be used to track down and kill the person in a foreign country who provided this information. It may also be used to show other countries what they need to do to provide counterintelligence operations to deceive American technology and operations. In other words, it allows the world to know what we can do and how to counter our capabilities better.
The indictment laid out in pretty extraordinary detail what Trump had in his possession. And I'm wondering if any particular item struck you as the most wow factor. That was just lying around Mar-a-Lago. For me, it was the battle plans if we took action, military action against Iran. Struck me as just pretty shocking. What about you, though?
Well, a couple of things. Anything that's talent keyhole, anything that shows our satellite capabilities is very sensitive, and that's not imagery that usually passes around. That's very, very well restricted in how it's handled. Yes, the war plans essentially for Iran, that's not something Trump should ever have had outside of a skiff, a compartment, that special room basically that's built where you can view these documents. That Trump had documents that could only be viewed in a secure location laying around his residence, which is also a social club, is very troubling.
Let me ask you this. I was mentioning this to another guest on the show earlier today. The one thing that we don't know, and may never know, quite frankly, about this case is why Trump wanted all of this stuff, why he refused requests and a subpoena to give it back, why he lied to the government, lied to his own lawyer, and particularly for a transactional guy. There's some scary possibilities as to why the former president wanted to keep this stuff in his possession, even to his own legal peril, as now we've learned in the last few days. What is your theory or your level of concern about the intent and the motive here?
Look, I think we can all speculate on what his intent or motive may have been, and none of us will be any more right than the other. You could easily say that Trump was arrogant, that he believes that he is above the law. You could say that he expected to be back in the White House in a couple of years, and it wouldn't matter if he had these documents. But yes, you could also make the argument that he wanted to use these documents in some manner, or at least to have them to show that he was smarter or better than his military experts who had prepared the war plans. If you note the conversation that was recorded, some of that suggests that he was holding on to documents to show that a media line of analysis of what Trump did on January 6th or thereabouts was not properly construed and contrary to the facts as he understood them. So basically, you could also argue that he was holding on these documents to cover himself and show that he was in the right for conduct that he engaged in.
He also revealed classified documents to aides, even an author, a member of a super PAC. He was kind of waving around some things to people he wanted to impress or for whatever his motivation may have been. Does that deepen the case for you? And is there one particular aspect of this indictment that you think is the most legally problematic for Trump?
Legally problematic is basically what's laid out there. He had classified documents that he should not have had, and when he was asked to return them, he failed to do so. That's enough to get a conviction. Everything else is just making him look bad. Everything else is just making a stronger case to the American public more than the legal scholars or a jury on why he should be charged in the first place and why he should be convicted. So it doesn't go to make anything that he's charged with more severe or less severe. The fact that he had these documents at all is enough. The fact that he didn't return them is enough. Added bonus, he was showing them to people. That makes it worse. But beyond that, where they were stored, how many people had access, that's just icing on the cake for the prosecution. It does nothing more to enhance his guilt or innocence.
Do you think it's a disqualifying event for someone to handle documents in this way and return to the Oval Office?
Well, I will only say that I'm very troubled when anyone handles classified documents in this way, and it does beg the question of how much we can trust them to safeguard our national security.
Gerard Filitti, national security expert, senior counsel at the Lawfare Project. Thanks so much for giving us some time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Lindsay.